Co-founder of MxM News, a new app that you should absolutely download and use. Donald Trump Jr. is on with us. Hey, Don, how are you?
I'm doing well. Yourself?
I'm great. I am great. Thank you for this app, by the way. Tell people
It's my pleasure.
Tell people what it does exactly.
Well, MxM, like minute by minute, it's an app designed for people who actually want to see the news. Glenn, you have a lot of followers. I'm pretty sure that, Apple News's algorithm has literally never shown anyone one of your stories that they want to see, right?
No. It used to be about
sure
10 years ago.
Followers.
It was pretty good. Now, nothing.
No, you'll never show up. Just like, you maybe show up in my Twitter feed 10% of the times that
Correct.
you post.
Correct.
But 150% of CNN shows up in my feed, whether I follow it or not, right?
I know.
That's how the algorithm works. So, these stories, they do exist. The Hunter Biden laptop, people were writing about it, but the vast majority of America did not see that story. We now know that close to 20% of Biden voters literally said they would not have voted for him had they known about it. It was on the cover of the New York Post, but big tech decided to make sure that no one saw that because it would hurt the odds of them forwarding their political agenda. So I said, you know what? Enough is enough. I know people are writing these stories. I see it, but I spend all day looking at this stuff like you do. So we decided, a couple friends of mine, all super political guys, MAGA guys, to come up with an app, create an app that will literally pluck from all stories. I mean, there's mainstream media in there as well, but you'll see the Glenn Beck stuff. You'll see stuff from The Blaze. You'll see stuff from Breitbart. The stories that are being suppressed will also show up equally. So you can actually read about everything and then formulate your own opinion. That's what this was about. And we just saw that it literally didn't exist. The places where even conservatives were still getting their news were so heavily biased.
Right.
The big hand of big tech was suppressing everything that they'd want to read. And we got to make sure that this stuff is out there so these disasters don't happen in the future. And until big tech decides to actually believe in free speech and not censorship and not controlling that kind of messaging, someone had to step up and do it.
I will tell you that this is so needed, and I appreciate the fact that you are putting in the mainstream media sources so you see it. I want to read all of it. I want to choose what to read, what not to read. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. I read 4 or 5 articles on a subject. I don't just take one as a gospel because I'll always pick out an extra point in something there. You can see, that bias then when you actually, I didn't realize X, Y, Z, right?
Right.
You saw that with, Kyle Rittenhouse. Oh, you mean the people he killed weren't actually African Americans? I didn't realize that. I was told he was a white supremacist, right? So you can see that bias, and it really helps you formulate your own opinion. So literally, we created this app. It's totally free. You can download it for iPhone or Google. And, if you don't like it, delete it. It's that simple. We're not asking for information. We're not asking for emails. We're literally just trying to make sure that people can have access to the news that exists, but they won't see elsewhere.
So how do you do this? I mean, is there an algorithm? Is this hand selected? How is this done?
Hey, right now, we literally have a team of guys going through all of the sources and picking the things that are going to be trending. They'll show the diversity of both opinions, again, mainstream as well as sort of the things that I still consider mainstream. I mean, I'd say you guys are mainstream based on simply the amount of following that you have.
Correct.
But no algorithm from the usual big tech suspect is ever going to highlight that. Right? It may show up, but you're going to get 10% of the following. It's like my Instagram feed. 10% of the people who want to see my stuff will maybe get to see it at best. Whereas, I see stuff from people I don't even follow, and it magically shows up in there. And every suggested follow is a Democrat politician, never a Republican, even though I don't know what would lead them to believe that I'm wanting to follow Bernie Sanders. But nonetheless, he's there.
Yeah,
so
I get that.
Made it really easy for people. They can, honestly, you can just go to donjr.com and it'll, at the top of my homepage, just donjr.com. You sit there, you can click there. If you have Android, click the link there. It'll take you right to the Android store. If you have, iPhone, it'll take you right to the app in the iPhone store. It was the, leading downloaded app on Apple all weekend, which was pretty cool for news and stuff like that. And so people are into it. And it's just a very simple platform. You choose the preferences of things you want to see, and those are the things that'll end up in your feed, and you'll actually get to see the stories that you've been missing for all this time.
Yeah, I'm looking. I mean, Business Insider, not conservative. The Blaze, Politico, not really conservative. Associated Press, Breitbart, Associated Press, Rumble, The Blaze, Breitbart, National Pulse, The Federalist, Daily Caller, The Hill, Daily Star, Bloomberg, Newsweek. I mean, you're covering the news. It's not an agenda-driven thing. It seems to be a truth-driven thing, which is what we are lacking right now.
100%. There's no agenda behind it. We let people actually use their brains and make their own opinions, and that's what it should be about. But it hasn't been for so long. And again, for so long I use social for my news. But again, if I'm getting 90% of the other stuff, man, I believe based on the last 5 years that, I was working with Russia. I'm an agent of Russia based on the nonsense that's out there.
Right.
Not actually the truth. So, it's the kind of thing literally in 10 minutes you could scroll through and have all of the news from all of the sources all over the world in one place. It's a great way to get educated quickly without having to sort of sort through the filter, without having to try to actively search the stuff that you'd be looking for to maybe find the corollary opinion. And so, yeah, we're pretty excited about it and just trying to, again, fight back against the nonsense that we've been seeing. I've been preaching it for a long time, and, all these guys say, well, build your own. So we did. We did.
Don, I get a question all the time. What sites do I check? And I check a million of them, but I follow one site that's done by an aggregator. He's got the best finger on the pulse for stories that I've ever seen, and most people don't even know about the website. It's called Spin Quark. You should look that up for stories because it's a great selection of stories. Spin Quark.
I'll check it out. Yeah,
okay.
And this was really also, in part designed to fill the void that
Drudge
left when Drudge sort of got, I guess he sold and got woke, and the new guy's a liberal and all that stuff. But when you have, Drudge Report that used to break big stories, now they won't even cover the Durham Report.
Correct.
Mainstream media talks 0 seconds about Hunter Biden and the laptop. And, now that they got what they wanted, they can say, oh, yeah, well, I guess we were wrong. It wasn't really Russian disinformation, despite 200 intelligence officials signing on to the letter as though it's real, as though they had some sort of real information that it was Russian disinformation. We're trying to cut out that nonsense because there's plenty of it out there. You see it right now, I'm sure, with Russia and Ukraine. I don't honestly know what to believe because I've been in the room for the last 5 years as they have lied, as they've reported about what happened in the room that I was in, and the two things have nothing to do with each other. They don't even resemble each other remotely. Right. One is a messaging designed to derive a narrative. The other is what actually happened. And again, there doesn't have to be a correlation between the two anymore. And that's a shame. So we're trying to eliminate that.
It's MxM, like minute by minute. MxM. You can get it wherever you get your apps. I highly recommend that you download it and use it. It's a great way to stay in touch with the news without the liberal algorithms telling you what you should read. Read it all. Read it all. Don, I want to ask you a bit. Your dad said yesterday that Russia should release what they have on Hunter Biden's, bribes, what we think are bribes, and sure look like bribes. Yesterday, also, we found out the FBI, gee, what did I do with that Hunter Biden laptop? They don't know where it is. Luckily, there are copies of it now, and it was entered into the congressional record yesterday. What's your take on what's happening with not Hunter Biden, but how this will affect Joe Biden? Because this story is about him being compromised.
Yeah, 100%. Listen, I've been saying it for a while. As this thing started weeks ago, I was like, hey, has anyone ever thought about maybe the fact that our response to the Russia-Ukraine situation is totally misguided because they're trying to cover up what they know still exists out there that maybe we don't know about? I mean, the FBI, who I guarantee you has every text message to anyone who was within a 1,500-mile radius of Washington, D.C. on January 6th, right? Mm-hmm. Your grandmother, they're spying on them. They haven't lost that text message, but they don't know where the Hunter Biden laptop is because, it's just not that important. that Hunter was laundering money for Russian oligarchs tied to human trafficking and sex trafficking rings, that he was doing all sorts of shady business, that there's 10% for the big guy. That's not relevant to the FBI anymore, Glenn. That stuff doesn't matter. That's just part of the swamp, and it's just totally acceptable. Again, if your grandmother took a selfie, near the Capitol that week, she's in trouble. We're going to investigate her. I guarantee you that they spent more time researching the garage pull door at Bubba Watson's supposed hate crime thing with NASCAR than they ever did looking into the Hunter Biden laptop. This is a recurring pattern. These people and the leadership at the FBI is so corrupted. Imagine it was my laptop.
My gosh.
You think it would go missing? It'd be Exhibit A. It would be everywhere. It would be on the cover of every mainstream periodical in the country. It would be everywhere. It's Hunter Biden's. Now it's finally true. Oh, and now that we know it's true, now it's missing. These are not coincidences, Glenn. These aren't stupid people. They may be biased. They may be corrupted. They may be partisan, but they're not stupid.
Right.
They don't just lose these things. And again, if it was about their political enemies rather than the people who will get them their 10% in time, I guarantee you it wouldn't be lost.
We're talking to Donald Trump Jr., the co-founder of MxM, an app that you should download. Don, I have about a minute left. Can you just tell me, because when you look, something's wrong with this war. Something's very, very wrong. The way Biden is playing this, it almost seems as if he wants a really big war to happen. How much of the Hunter Biden stuff do you think is playing a role in what the president is saying about Putin and the direction we seem to be moving in?
Listen, I think it's pretty significant. Again, Ukraine also, there's not a country out there that doesn't have a Hunter Biden laptop or a clone thereof. All of our enemies seem to have a Hunter Biden laptop. The only people that don't have a Hunter Biden laptop are the FBI because they lost it, I guess. So again, I think our decision-making process is literally being done to protect Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, and their shady dealings abroad. And the fact that there's no one in the media even questioning if that could be the case is more scary, Glenn, because it's sort of obvious, right? He was doing all these deals for no reason, with no experience, and millions of dollars, and yada, 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 with both countries. And they're not even saying, hey, do you think maybe our response is biased because of that? That to me is truly scary. Literally no one has asked that question. I've been asking it for a month. And I know that if it was me, they'd say, Trump is making this decision because he's compromised by this country, but Joe Biden's not. Give me a break. Is there anything in Joe Biden's history or Hunter Biden's history that would allow us to believe that they are taking the high road and they're doing the right thing for the people of America? We could be on the verge of World War III with Russia to cover up a Hunter Biden scam. We're going to send our kids over there to die to protect a crackhead? Are we out of our minds? And again, the fact that no one is asking the question makes it even scarier. But again, you won't hear that reported, which is a big part of why we also created MxM News, so that you can see it for yourself.
Thank you very much, Don. Appreciate it. We'll talk to you again. My best to your family. God bless.
Thanks a lot, Glenn. Be well.
MxM is the name of the app.